Well, I want to start my story today. A few years back, some of you may have been here. I'm not, you'll know if you were here. But when I finish the story that I'm going to tell you today, through those gates walked a gentleman about this tall with silver hair, wearing a light blue t-shirt, jeans, and on his t-shirt he had a picture of a wolf. And underneath it said, "My guardian angel." Just as the story ended, he came through those gates, silver hair, just so gentle as can be. And some of you may even remember he came up and you could touch, he had on his side a wolf walking with him, the same wolf that was on his t-shirt. And he came right through. The wolf was huge. And Keiki, did you touch that wolf? Do you remember when that wolf came through? That wolf came through here, and it was so gentle. And that man loved his wolf, and the wolf loved him. And I don't know if he was a man or if he was an angel just come down to come through. So the story I'd like to tell to you takes place in the early 1200s. There was a man named Francis in Italy. He liked to love people and love God's creation. In fact, every piece of God's creation was a sister, a brother, or a mother. The earth was a mother, the earth was a sister, the sun, the moon were all sisters and brothers. He loved the little rabbits, and if he saw them in the market and the people were going to kill them for food, he would buy them and let them go. He would buy the birds that they were going to have for food, and he would let them go. He probably was a vegetarian at this point in his life. He just loved people. He loved animals. Sometimes he'd walk down the street and he'd go into one place and he'd see a bunch of birds and he'd stop and he'd talk to them and they would listen to him. And when he was finished, he'd give them a blessing and they'd fly away and he'd continue on his way. And whoever was with him just had to wait while he was talking to the birds. Well, one day he was going to a city named Gubbio to visit his friend. And when he got there, it was late afternoon and the people started acting really weird and he was wondering what is wrong with these people. They're acting so strange. And he asked, what is the deal here? You all seem ill at ease as the sun is starting to shift in the sky. And he said, they said there's a wolf. There's been a wolf out there. And it's attacking our sheep, it's attacking our fowl, and we're afraid it's going to eat one of our children. And we're really afraid it's a big wolf. And he said, really? Well, let me go out and have a talk with that wolf. And he said, no, you can't go out and talk to that wolf. And he said, of course I can go talk to that wolf. And he took his traveling companion and he went through the city gates, outside the city wall, into the dark forest, walking, looking for the wolf. And then out of nowhere, the wolf came, charging at them. And the sun, as it's getting lower in the sky, was hitting its eyes, and the eyes were reflecting green. And the mouth was open and slobber, the saliva was coming off the teeth, and the tongue was out, and the wolf was straight towards Francis. It was just going down a little bit to leap, and Francis said, stop. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, stop. And the wolf just stopped. He said, come here, brother wolf. I'm thinking it was a woman wolf, but I can't remember, so we'll call Brother Wolf. Come here, Brother Wolf. And the wolf came right up to him, and Francis took a look at him, and he saw, oh, that wolf is skinny. Look at those ribs. He said, come here, wolf, and he just gently touched it. And the fur was so rough. And then he felt all these scars along the wolf's side from being hit with farming instruments and from other dogs attacking it. Just scars and skinny. And he said, wolf, you must be hungry. And they had this conversation. The wolf said, I'm getting old, I'm tired, I'm hungry. There's not a lot of food to eat around here anymore. And those little sheep are easy prey. Francis said, you can't do that anymore. The people are so afraid. Let's make peace with the people. And how about if they take care of you and feed you, you won't eat their little sheep and scare them and think they might think you're going to eat their children. And the wolf agreed, and he said, show me that you agree to this. And Francis kneeled down, put out his hand, and wouldn't you know, that wolf put his paw into his hand and looked into his eyes and said, I agree. And then it went with Francis back into this town. The people were cowering. He went right into the middle of the city, right by the fountain that's usually in the middle of those towns in Italy. and the people came out. He called them out. He told them the situation about that wolf, and that the wolf was sorry for scaring them and for eating their sheep, and he asked if they would take care of the wolf. And they agreed. They agreed to forgive the wolf and to care for the wolf, and they wanted a sign also. So Francis kneeled down again and put out his hand, and the wolf put his paw on his hand and looked him in the eye, and the people were like, and the children were, and that wolf lived in that village for many years, and the people cared for it, and it would lay there on the tiles by the fountain, and the little kids would come up and lay with the wolf in the sunshine, and it got old, and after some years that wolf died. And wouldn't you know, that wolf got buried in the church where all the famous important people get buried. That's where the wolf was buried. And to this day you can go to Gubbio and see the tomb of that wolf, and outside in the town is a beautiful statue of that wolf, which brings to mind this beautiful story of Francis and the wolf of Gubbio. That's the story.